Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville. Cultivating our body's resilience and inner silence and its application to all aspects of your life. Let's become enlightened and enjoy the power of intuitiveness and creativity. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Colette Darville, and this is Yin Yoga Lifestyle. So now let us take a deep, meditative breath. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. Angela Ardolino at angelaardolino.com is the founder of Miami Children's Theater and Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine. She has a background in broadcast journalism and appeared on television and radio shows, including a nationally syndicated daytime. Angela is also a holistic pet expert, caring for animals for over 20 years. She earned a professional certification in medical cannabis biology and the therapeutic uses from the University of Vermont College of Medicine. That year, she hosted the Canna Conference to educate doctors, veterinarians, and patients about the positive effects of medical cannabis and how cannabis reacts in the endocannabinoid system. In June 2018, Angela launched CBD Dog Health and its line of full-spectrum hemp extract products, specifically formulated for pets. In 2019, Angela partnered with Cannabis Radio to launch her pet-centric podcast, It's a Dog's Life. Angela also tirelessly runs and operates an animal rescue called Fire Flake Farm in Lutz, Florida. This happy and safe haven is the perfect place to save neglected farm animals and dogs in a natural healing environment. And when healed, these animals are available to find their forever homes through adoption. Welcome back to Yin Yoga Lifestyle, Angela.
Thanks for having me.
Well, now, okay, so I can imagine you grew up with lots of animals around you, and I came to a conclusion that your career in TV and journalism was just the segue to your great love of taking care of animals. Am I right?
Yeah, you're about right. It's really funny though. When I grew up, I wasn't allowed to have pets in the house. So which was kind of cool because it made me be outside all the time. So we lived on a canal. I grew up in Miami, and we had ducks, every kind of duck you could imagine. I had bunnies. So I grew up outside with my animals, and I always used to say, one day I'm going to have my own rescue so I can take every animal in. And then finally, when I settled on where I wanted to live, I was like, hey, I could get as many animals as I want now. So Fire Flake Farm was born. But yeah, one of my heroes in this world is a man named Gene Bauer. He is the founder of the Farm Sanctuary, and he has rescued farm animals for years and years and years. John Stewart, as a matter of fact, has a farm sanctuary of his in New Jersey.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I got the idea. All the people that were getting chickens for eggs, remember that was a big craze a couple of years ago. And then, what happens to those chickens when they're no longer laying eggs or they get a rooster by accident? So that's kind of how it started, is that I was getting everybody's chickens. And then, of course, where I buy my feed, he knew what I did, so everybody who called him, so I would get every random baby duck or possum or you name it. I've raised just about everything. And then, of course, dogs. Lots and lots of dogs. And I also own a boarding and grooming retail shop for pets. So that's where most of my dogs come from. Either someone can no longer take it, or we end up in a boarding situation, where somebody has passed and they don't know what to do with the dog, and then we get the dog, or the dog is what has happened because of my cannabis education is that I also have these relationships with vets that they have tried everything conventionally, and they go, hey, we know this crazy lady who's doing stuff with cannabis over on a rescue. You can contact her. So I'll either get the dog, or I'll see, the parent will come. So I'll either, end up with the dog or help them, cure their dog. So what's cool is that I get dogs.
That's so amazing.
Have nothing to lose. Yeah.
Wow. That's just a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So, when you decided to open the animal rescue facility at your home, and I would say your home. So, was there one particular incident, or was it just a general decision along from way back that you had to do something in the area you lived in?
I got 3 acres, and I'm in the woods, and I sit between 2 lakes, and it's kind of like farmland around here. So I was like, okay, I always knew I was going to have a rescue. I just knew that I was going to have a lot of animals.
Yeah. So you made sure there was lots of room.
Right. So now I had this space. So first I had started by, clearing land, fencing in areas. Farm life is hard.
Yeah.
For those who've never done it before, there's a lot of death. There's a lot of raccoons and foxes and coyotes and birds of prey. And so it's really hard to keep everyone safe. Alligators, I live in Florida. We live in alligator land. So, just started doing that, learned a lot, learned how to keep them safe and protected, built, one coop after another and made them better and better and better. So I think I've got it down now.
Yeah.
And then with dogs are, easier.
Well, dogs are, there are a lot of dogs out there that need homes. And, but you have so many different types of animals on your farm, don't you? So you've got dogs and you've got pigs. I'm just naming them out, rabbits and geese. You got chickens.
Yep.
Now you have so many. Now, that's a lot of different kind of animals. So do you have to keep them all in separate areas? And when it's playtime, are they allowed to be together? And do they get along if they are together?
Yeah, so I have 9 dogs that live here. And then, of course, we have boarders and rescues coming and going. All my dogs are trained that, the farm animals are family. The only time that I have not been able to break the habit is when bunnies run. So bunnies don't go in the same area that the dogs play in.
Right.
If my bunnies are away, they're free range bunnies. So sometimes they go into one of the coops and stay, which was really funny. They just did that when the hurricane came.
Yeah.
The day before they went into the coop, they both went into the coop and stayed there. And I was like, what? That's crazy. And then the hurricane passed and they went back out.
They
so
know.
I keep them separate. But my dogs protect the farm animals. What's hilarious is that a random duck or a random bird will come fly into my yard and they'll chase that away and bark at it. But they'll run past my ducks and chickens. So they know who's supposed to be on the farm and who isn't. It's really funny.
Right. Who's supposed to be on the property and who's not.
Exactly. But it's kind of, we call it doggy vacation, doggy retirement home, because we have so many seniors.
Yeah.
So there's nothing better than watching them be able to just walk outside, walk into the lake if they want and go for a swim, smell, dig, do all the things that dogs love to do.
Can I move in with you? That's great.
It's really funny during COVID. It's kind of become that, because half my staff's in New York, and when COVID hit, they all came here, and so I had a full house up until last week. It was crazy.
Oh, that's great. Now feeding and bringing sick animals back to health. Now that must be expensive. So So how do you cover the costs to take care of the animals? I mean, do you fundraise?
That's a great question, because I often say I don't know how the heck I would do this, but because I own my own shop, I get everything wholesale.
Right.
And I've also have created a wonderful relationship with Answers Pet Food, who also donates food for my rescue. So it would be really expensive if I wasn't in that position, but because I'm able to feed everybody raw and fresh food,
That's great.
which is really nice. But yeah, I go through, let's see, I could probably calculate it, probably 8 to 10 pounds of food a day for just the dogs.
Wow.
And it's all raw or fresh.
Wow.
It's I don't know what I would do. Every time I can't even answer the phone sometimes, especially when it's for CBD. They're like, my rescue, I have this dog. I'm just like, I'll send you 12. I don't know how people do it. Because I think, when I get them here at the rescue, I want to change their health, their life, make them live as long as they possibly can. Yeah. And I know other rescues, it's simple to open up, a bag of kibble or a donated kibble. And I'm like, oh, gosh, I wish they didn't have to do that.
Yeah, it's really, and, and you also offer like your animals for adoption. So, so do you have some favorite stories that you could share of animals that have found forever homes? Like, are any of them that sort of stick out in your mind?
Well, what I want people to really understand is that if you want that you want a certain breed of dog, that you could find that dog in a rescue situation. Because I have had $10,000 dogs here, $5,000 dogs, purebred, designer dogs that people just can't take care of or don't want or whatever. It's you'd be amazed. My last rescue, it's funny because I'll actually I'll confront people when I get a dog at the shop that I can tell is neglected or someone can't take care of them. So I'll actually start a conversation with them and go, do you need help? And see if I can help. And most of the time it's someone else's dog. They ended up with it and they can't take care of it. And I'm like, well, we can take it and clean him up and find him a home. Yeah. So a lot of times I like to, if it's like a brand new puppy, I immediately, put them out. Or I have such a list of people. I actually have people that are like, let me know what your next rescue is, because we have such amazing rescues.
Wow.
But if it's an older dog or dogs with issues, those are the ones that end up being permanent residents because they have too many issues or need medication or are dog aggressive. But all of them, my favorite stories are the dogs that get given up because, for instance, Potato, she is a 16-year-old Shih Tzu that her mom gave up because I think she knew she was going to die and just couldn't deal with all of the medications and problems and whatever. And was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And someone at my shop was like, well, she could go to Fire Flake Farm. And she was like, really? That's an option? So we took her and we're able to take them off all of their medications. She had Cushing's, she had lymphoma. We got rid of her lymphoma. And, she runs around this house and farm like it's hers. And I wish I want to like call her up and go, this is what Potato looks like. And, she's doing great. We don't have to give up. There are natural ways that we can help them so that, they're not peeing on the floor all the time, or they're not pooping, everywhere because they're sick.
And you also train. You're also a trainer. So.
Well, and it's not only me training, the other dogs train.
Right.
When you have a pack of dogs, it's really easy because they follow what all the other dogs do. So creating a routine is really easy and neat. And if they can keep it up, they've got a perfectly trained dog.
So what happens when somebody